It's November 2013. This asshole decides to get into Bitcoin, which is a great idea. But the asshole part comes where he screws up big time by selling way too early. Since then, man, I made a lot of mistakes. And in this video, I want to share all the experience that I've built in crypto in one compact video so you don't have to make the same mistakes as I did, because honestly, you don't need to. So welcome to the FOMO Factory. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. I think that this is going to be completely golden. So first thing in the experience that I can come up with is do not be emotional, right? And you will be emotional. That's a given, right? It's not that you can prevent that. But if you are able to prevent that, then please do so, right? The biggest mistakes that I've made with crypto was not when I was looking at the charts and felt like, oh, wow, it's looking really bad based on some actual stuff that matters. No, it's more that people were freaking out and it was low. And I thought like, oh man, I don't want to lose it anymore. Let me sell. Turns out I sold the bottom, right? Other way around as well, been there. Especially in 2017, man, people were so extremely euphoric. That alt season was off the charts. Like literally, if you look back at 2017, you could just see with these alts right here that this parabolic phase was absolutely crazy, man. Where you went from a $5 billion market cap in September to a $80 billion market cap just 3 months later, right? It was so extremely euphoric, and I was buying in the middle of it. Right? So really, guys, the first thing that I can share is do not be emotional. Now, how can you prevent being emotional? I think that the biggest thing is what everybody tells you. Don't invest more than you can lose, right? If you feel like, man, $1,000 is a lot for me, therefore I want to make 10K. So if I invest that $1,000 and it goes times 10, bro, you're already stepping into it emotionally. You won't be able to make a 10x with that, right? You won't be. So if you have $1,000 and that's a lot to you, don't invest that $1,000. It's really not a good idea. Also, a great way to make sure that you are not emotional in crypto. Same example. Let's say you do invest $1,000, right? It's now a good place of the market, in my opinion. It's very easy to turn that into $2,000. What should you do? Wait until you hit 20K? I would say take that initial 1,000 out. That way, yeah, you will never make as much money as you would have thought. But you are literally not able to lose. Now, say whatever you want. We came in crypto to win. So let's eliminate the idea of losing as fast as possible. Okay, that's really important. Next piece of experience that I want to share, which helped me like so much, is just basic understanding of crypto and the cycles, right? Now, you have to realize that crypto is more than just the halving cycle. It's the full liquidity cycle, the full business cycle. And market cycles, they move in phases, right? It's very simple. And I can show this, the altcoin market chart. I can show it right here, very probably. Yeah. There are 4 phases. There's an accumulation phase. That's where you accumulate. That's where you buy, nowhere else, right? You accumulate at the accumulation phase. And it will be silent there, right? Like people will not be there. There will be no retail. There will be nobody patting you on the shoulder like, oh, you bought that coin. It's so dead. Congratulations, right? And the people that are here will be negative. They will say this time is different. They will say altcoins will never go up again. They will do anything to make you believe like you are the one doing something wrong. Okay? But an accumulation phase is called an accumulation phase for a good reason. Then there's the uptrend. If you accumulate it here, then you are making money in the uptrend. If you didn't accumulate here, you can buy your way up. Like, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but overall, if you buy in the accumulation phase and you ride it up, that's how you make most money, right? And then it's going to be hard again, because then there's a distribution phase. It's where everything, kind of stalls out. Every indicator is flashing. Everybody is bullish. Everyone is euphoric, says it's going way higher. And that will be the point where people will call you fucking nuts for selling, right? Yeah. If you bought here, then who's the nut job for selling here, right? That's a distribution phase. Get rid of all your coins, right? Maybe not Bitcoin. It's another thing, but altcoins, get rid of it. Then there is the last phase of the market cycle, and that's the downtrend, right? And the downtrend is bear market, right? The downtrend is simply where you don't want to be involved in the market, because if you did these steps correctly, you bought here, you rode it up, you sold, then what the hell are you doing in the downtrend, right? That's why you want to do absolutely nothing when it comes to investing, at least, right? Maybe Bitcoin, if you have a multi-year time horizon, then, whatever. But altcoins and downtrends, they go hand in hand. And then it starts over again, right? Then there is, an accumulation phase, and then there's an uptrend. And at a certain point, when this uptrend is over, there will be a distribution phase. And there will be a downtrend again, right? Now, don't get it confused, though, because you can, for this very specific example, look at this chart and be like, oh yeah, but this was the accumulation phase, this was the uptrend, and this is a distribution phase, right? Right? If you look at the last cycle, you could have said the same thing, right? Uptrend, distribution phase, downtrend? No, completely missed it. So therefore, my next piece of advice, don't think that this time is different. Really. Every time I thought so, and I traded it like that, it cost me money. Because so far, the cycle and all the previous cycles and full crypto history has never been different. Of course, every cycle moves a little different from the last cycle, but overall, the big picture, right? The multi-year cycle, how money flows, that's never different. But people always have a reason to say that it's different. And guess what happened to these people? It turned out that it wasn't, and they got wrecked. They got left behind, they FOMO'd in, they sold low again. Not great, right? The people that think that this time is different are basically saying like, hey, I'm smarter than how the market thinks I am, and I'm smarter than everybody else. And you're not. We are all freaking stupid when it comes to this, because I am making fucking YouTube videos. That's what I do for a living. What do? You watch those. Right? If we are all that smart, we wouldn't be doing all of this, man. So don't think that this time is different. You cannot outsmart the market. Now, am I saying that it will never be different? At a certain point, things will change. The problem is people thought that here. People thought it here, and it never worked. Right? And that's the same as the saying, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, right? Don't fight it. Don't fight it, right? Zoom out. It's so important. And that kind of goes hand in hand with another thing that I think is really important, zooming out, right? For somebody with ADHD, I can zoom out pretty well. But when it comes to literal zooming out, super important. I'm in a chat group on Telegram with other people from the Netherlands, and I often see them post charts, and I see Bitcoin And I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? Turns out they are looking at the 5-minute chart or the hour chart even. And I'm like, but you guys are no traders, right? You are investing. If you are investing, then the 4-hour chart and everything lower than that should never be relevant to you. Never, right? If you are really investing, man, I'm often looking at weekly charts, sometimes at daily charts, but man, otherwise you can create certain emotions for yourself that you don't even need to, that they're only going to stand in the way, right? Next big experience that I have is actually knowing what charts to look at, right? As you do, you learn, you gain experience, you make mistakes, you know what works, you know what doesn't work. Some things work until they don't. But know what charts to look at, right? If you want to become rich with altcoins, where do you start, right? Well, most people will probably start at that altcoin chart, right? Whatever it may be, Aerodrome right here, whatever. And they'd be like, oh, it's here. So, conclusion. Look, every altcoin can have an occasional move on their own. But overall, alts are like all below on the crypto food chain, right? Or in the money chain, basically, right? Altcoins are at the lowest. Above, yeah, it goes from low caps to high caps, of course, but above is Bitcoin, right? Alts are following BTC. But BTC is following stocks. And stocks are following the macro conditions overall, right? So if you want to know how your alts are likely going to do, you cannot have a single clue if you have no idea how the macro is looking, right? If you, like, you don't have to be an expert, and I'm for sure not as well, but have a little clue like, hey, is it a bullish outlook or is it all looking like, it's very, because otherwise, man, all these support levels and resistance levels won't mean shit, right? Another piece of very important experience that I have actually is, where do you get your information from, right? I got my information in the past from YouTubers that I thought were good because they were convincing. They were like, this how it is. Welcome. It looks like that and that and that. And it's probably going to happen like that. And once they are right, they'd be like, we told this. So blah, 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 blah. And it makes you feel like, fuck, these guys are good. Well, most of these guys are full of shit, right? Most of the guys are really full of shit. They have a business as a crypto YouTuber, whatever they do. And as a business, they need to monetize their business, right? And a lot of crypto influencers are taking that monetization a little too far. They think it's more important than how ethical or how honest they are towards the community. And these people should be blocked right away, right? These people should be completely blocked. Will there be an influencer that makes a very good call? Yeah. Does it make him somebody to really always listen to? No. Will there be an influencer that makes a terrible call? Yeah, definitely. Pretty much 100% exactly of those, right? However, does that mean you should not listen to them? No. Take it as your research, right? But don't depend on one certain crypto YouTube channel or whatever, even if it's mine, right? There are a lot of things that I don't see that somebody else does, right? Take it all into consideration and try to come with your own conclusions. There's a lot of information on the internet. these crypto influencers are literally you. The only difference is they have a camera and you don't. That's the only difference, right? So be very careful where you get your information from. Another thing, it's kind of going hand in hand with what I already said, but it's about sentiment, right? Counter trade that or ignore it. It's also fine if you can ignore all your own emotions and the market sentiment and other people that are in the market and you talk with or whatever. If you can ignore that, fine. Even better if you counter trade it, right? And what do I mean exactly? I noticed that when we were here, for example, in the altcoin market, when it was sitting really low, all tariffs and bad, and really low, market completely oversold. You probably remember, I was being very excited. Said this is a great chance, right? Now, that doesn't matter what I say. But the funny thing is, though, that if you look back then at the YouTube comments, people were not only like disagreeing with me, they were literally angry with me for, how dare you to be bullish when prices are low? You should know that when things go down, it's all over, right? Because that's crypto. It doesn't go up and down. It either goes up or it's over, right? If you watch these comments and you notice that that's really the conversation and that that's literally the sentiment, then you really should be like, whoa, this must be a fantastic opportunity right now, right? Therefore, there is something called a fear and greed index. Okay, now you can use a fear and greed index to, look like here. Fear and greed index for Bitcoin, right? Now, if you look at fear and greed index, it's now pretty greedy, right? It's not full greed. So it's not that you could say like, oh, wow, it's really a top signal or whatever. But if you look right here, in the whole period of like March, April, it was sitting at like 10. Extreme capital letters, extreme fear, right? Real extreme fear, like crazy. What you'll notice is that if we go back to Bitcoin, when was March, April? It was literally the low of this move. Right? So, and that's always the case. When people are very fearful and they think they're smart for saying like, hey, it's not going to happen this time, try to use it. If you cannot ignore it, okay, cool. But then try to use it. And notice how people complaining on the internet about how smart they are usually not the smartest people, right? That's what it is. Sorry if I offended somebody, but hey, see it as some personal, like I've been through all of it. I was also always whining and shit. Next thing that I really think is important is having a goal. Like if you step into crypto and you don't have a goal, then it's going completely wrong, right? What do we mean? I invested money in crypto before. I had no money. I had to take a loan, put it in crypto, saw it go up really hard. And I thought like, we'll see. I'll be a millionaire in very fast. If I only had a goal, which was pretty reasonable, I would have taken out some good bunch of money at a realistic point. But because I didn't have a goal, I was like, okay, let's see how far this goes. Riding it up. I'm gonna be rich very soon. And then, bam. If you don't have a goal, then it doesn't work, man. Another thing, and that's something that I, in all honesty, still struggle with, is don't have too many alts in your portfolio, right? It depends. If you have $10 million, then you can have quite a lot. But assuming you have $10 million, you're probably not taking advice from me, right? But if you have a somewhat couple $1,000 portfolio or anything up to 50K or whatever, and I would say like, man, try to stick to maybe 10 coins, man. I mean, if it's 11 or 9, it's fine. But if you have like 50 coins out there, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess, man. Really. One, how the hell are you going to keep up with all the research, right? I mean, I assume you do research. If you don't, then do it, right? But how are you going to keep up with that? You cannot, especially if this is not your full-time job, research 50 projects like pretty good occasionally to keep up with it, right? So how do you know what you are holding? Second, let's say we get something like 2017, right? Let's say we do get it. We get an insane blow off top. And somewhere you do feel like, hey, it's time to sell. Or whatever the case may be, and you want to sell, right? I have some coins there. I have some coins there. I thought I had some coins right there, but I'm not really sure on what chain did I have that. It's going to take time, bro. In a bull market, you don't have time to think, right? You do not have time to think. So make sure that you have a good overview, that you know what you are holding, right? Also, really, really, really important. And this is cool because I said this 2 years ago as well. And now you see people make the mistake that now people are saying this, but know when to be in what, right? There is a moment in the market for Bitcoin. There's a moment in the market for altcoins, and there's a moment in the market for neither of those, right? Now, that's where it all goes wrong with everybody, right? That's what we are seeing right now as well. So what do I mean? If you look at this alt season chart, basically, if this goes up, altcoins outperform Bitcoin. If it goes down, Bitcoin outperforms altcoins, right? If you look at this chart, we had alt season. And here, when people said like, hey, you know, it's time to be in Bitcoin, people were like, you boring piece of crap. I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. Like, what do you want to do? Want to get 70% gain in a year? Degen life. There goes your Degen life, right? That's not what you want to do. But now it's again the problem that now this thing is like really low. People are now finally convinced of the step that they had to take 2 years ago, right? Now I see people all being smart about it and be like, no, you should not be in altcoins. Bitcoin's way better. Yeah, because they just dumped on your ass and now you experienced why you needed to do that a couple years ago. Not now. Now it's time to do it the other way around again, right? Know when to be in what. And again, sometimes you don't want to be in anything. In a full bear market, you can be in Bitcoin, right? Again, if your time horizon is long enough, then it doesn't really matter because out of every single coin out there, there's only one coin. We all pretty much know that it will be still around / at least higher in 10 years from now, and that's Bitcoin, right? So if you don't care about that, hold on to it, right? Other than that, I would say just sell everything, right? So far, this is a very clear pattern that it's following. And in the middle of it, it always feels different and hectic and crazy. But if you look back, eventually you'll be like, just did the same as like what it always did. If I just did that, then, you know, and that's also a thing. Don't look back too much, man. Really. I had a lot of could've, would've, should've in my head, and that's not going to make it better. And you're not going to do it perfect this cycle as well. You will look back at this cycle and be like, oh, if I just did, if I just bought, if I just sold, if I just, what if I, like, you will always have that unless you will perfectly buy Bitcoin at the bottom, convert it into alts at the top, ride that altcoin wave up, sell that completely into cash, and then buy it back exactly for Bitcoin at the next bear market's bottom again. Tell you something, nobody in the whole fucking world will ever do that in any cycle, right? So that won't happen. Other thing though, that I also really learned, maybe a little too late, I could have applied this last cycle already, is don't look at altcoins on the dollar pair too much during a Bitcoin season, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, we all know. Why is Bitcoin going up against the dollar? Well, again, the dollar is going down on its own. Plus, BTC, more demand, less supply, goes up as well. So it's an asset that goes up against an asset that goes down. So Bitcoin goes up extra hard, of course, right? If you compare to the dollar all the time, yeah, then you're setting the bar a little low, actually. Because if you make $1 million right now, it's nice. Yeah, it's if you made $1 million 50 years ago, that would be freaking nice, right? Because that $1 million just worth less. We know that Bitcoin is being worth more and that the dollar is worth less. So why would you want to sell your crypto that much for an asset that you know will forever keep declining? Right? And I understand you pay your bills with it and it's just the world currency. For now, definitely. But in the meantime, you can trade it better though, right? Therefore, we talked about alt Bitcoin pairs on this channel a lot as well. People may have been like, what's a nice example? Well, let's go to Solana, right? People were like, man, if I just bought Solana, I don't know how long ago, and it's now pumping and it's great, right? And that's totally true. However, Solana is worth just as much as where it was in 2023, just as much in the last bear market, just as much in the run-up of the last bull market, right? So yeah, you can look at Sol on its dollar pair and be like, wow, this chart looks great, right? But again, if you go back to the Solana Bitcoin chart, it's like, hey, why buy Solana? You take fuckload of more risk for the same reward. Like if you bought Solana 4 years ago, you'd be sitting on a lot of risk, and now you would have had the same amount of money, right? At least same amount of Bitcoin. Yeah, that Bitcoin is up. So yeah, that Solana is up as well, right? So that's kind of the thing. Now, I'm saying in a Bitcoin season, that's what you mostly want to look at, right? At this specific moment, the whole market looks like it's going to outperform Bitcoin pretty soon. And then I feel like, yeah, you know, I can look at these Bitcoin pairs a lot, individual. They're all low, basically, right? It's all like, But it doesn't matter because therefore we have bigger charts like others /BTC or Bitcoin dominance or whatever. And there it shows like, hey, there's a stop to this, right? A couple months ago, it was like, the charts weren't really saying a lot like, hey, this will stop anytime soon, except for the seasonality. But now everything is screaming that. So now I feel like, yeah, hey, why would we look at altcoins, Bitcoin charts so much if we are expecting that the overall altcoin market is going to outperform Bitcoin, right? Know when to look at what. Super important. And also, man, patience is so key, right? It is so key. Patience is, this market is showing what people's biggest problem is. And this is coming from someone with a fuckload of ADHD. Have some patience, bro. Like, if I have to tell you that, then damn, man, you have it, man. You should have it. And what do I mean by that? Well, one, sometimes the best trade is no trade, right? Again, zoom out and you may look at the charts today and be like, I don't know, right? Like let's say S Fund or whatever, right? And you may look at it and be like, oh, it's only up 8.6% today. It's sitting here, man. I don't know. It takes long, right? And it's just up that much from the bottom. Bro, if you just buy when things are screaming low and just then for the biggest part apply the best trade is no trade strategy, then you will do fine, right? Don't buy every 10% dip. Buy the real good, capitulation event. It's what you saw over here as well. It's going down, down. If you bought that, up, you feel great. Down, down, down. You feel like, fuck, down more. Instead, if you just watch it go down, feel like, hey, bottoming, let's buy. Your average is here then, instead of here, right? Sometimes the best trade is no trade. But patience is really much needed. Because that could also put you into this time is different position, right? I see a lot of people say that as well. It's completely different because we have no alt season. It's in a 4-year cycle now. It's 2 months later than what it was in 2017. Yeah, if you think that 2 months difference within 48 months is so, have a little patience. See how it plays out, right? You have no idea, man, how many people said this. Look, this is fucking funny. It's maybe a little off topic, but it's so horribly true. This was all from beginning 2021, end of 2020. People had no patience, man. They time capitulated. Dead cat bounce for alts. Alt's gonna die. Will be no alt season. There is no alt season. Haha. No alts. These are literally the things that you are reading right now. It's literally a copy of exactly 4 years ago, right? It's a copy. All these people thought they were smart, right? Beginning of 2021. They all thought they were smart. Now let's look at that alt season chart again. Beginning of 2021 was literally the point where it started full on. These people, they maybe were like, oh yeah, it's not just as high as here. It's just a dead cat bounce. Here, oh, maybe it is alt season. Oh, fuck, it is alt season. Let's buy. That's what they did. Instead of being smart, they just had no patience, right? They were getting sick and tired of waiting, and they time capitulated exactly at the wrong moment. I have so many more things that I can share, but I think that this is really important to understand. And also, one thing, guys, don't see low cap, new, pump fund, meme coins, whatever, as a good full cycle or long-term hold. It's all a scam, okay? It's all a scam, right? You don't want to... You can trade that. You can make money with it if you're good at that. But don't hold it as something serious, right? That's not where the 100x is. If people are looking for 100x, and that's also what I learned, if you're looking for the biggest gains, you don't have to look at the lowest cap altcoins. In fact, you should not do that, right? Do you know how you really 100x your money? And I'm not fucking around right now. Do you know how you really do that? Patience. And buy Bitcoin somewhere around the lows. If you understand the cycles a little bit, you don't time the bottom, but you know how to identify a good macro bottom. Let's say 20K. It's now around 100K. Cool. Sell 5x. Nice. Hey, don't need 100x anymore. Now need a 20x. Cool. How am I going to do that? Gonna fuck around with stupid freaking meme coins? No. Then what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at established coins like Render, for example, right? We're sitting at 250. Can this thing go back to its non-alt season all-time high? Sure, of course, right? Cool. Bam, 5x. Oh, nice. Almost there already, right? What part of the cycle is it? Oh, it's late cycle. That's where the low caps blow up. Put a little money in some low caps, job done. And that in one cycle. It doesn't have to be that hard. Applying is hard, but actually it isn't. Actually, the fact that people overcomplicate and make it harder than it needs to be, that's what makes it hard. And it's not too late for this. It's not. Whenever I stop this video, I'll bet that I come up with more stuff. But, these are already the most important things. Let me know can you add something to this in the comments down below? Will be fantastic. Then I can maybe put them in one of the next videos, make a part 2. For now, I want to leave it here though. Don't want to make it too long. If you are looking for some exclusive content, feel like, hey, this is actually helpful, there's a link to our private Discord down below. It's cheap as fuck for what you get. Basically, it's free because we do a lot of giveaways, trading, one-on-one calls, exclusive videos. Completely worth it if you ask me. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it. 3 days free. Definitely do check it out though. I think there's a lot to learn, and we do not need a bunch of retarded influencers that are calling for the next 100x altcoin. In fact, if you know how this market works, you don't depend on these altcoins or these YouTubers. You can just strategically build your own 100x strategy easier than you think, bro. Really, don't underestimate yourself. It's very achievable. For now, last one, buy a Trezor or a Ledger. Really that simple. So I'm wrapping it up. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. See you guys in the next one.